Have you ever felt the invisible wall? It's the wall that stands between the English you know in your head and the English you are able to speak in a conversation. You can read, you can listen, you might even know thousands of words. But when the moment comes to express yourself, something gets stuck. It's a frustrating and sometimes lonely feeling. You are not a beginner anymore, but you don't feel fluent either. You are on the intermediate plateau, a place where it feels like progress has stopped. This masterclass is the way off that plateau. This is the solution to breaking through that invisible wall, once and for all. My name is Jessica, and welcome to English in Advance. Today, we are not just having a lesson. We are beginning a deep, transformative journey to rewire the way your brain operates in English. We are going to install a new, powerful, and efficient mental habit, the habit of thinking directly in English. This single skill is the key that unlocks everything else. It is what separates learners who are stuck from speakers who are confident and free. It's the difference between translating your life and actually living it in English. This will be the most comprehensive guide you will ever need on this topic. We will start by deconstructing the old, slow translation habits that are holding you back. Then, step by step, we will build your new English mind from the ground up, starting with single words and moving to complex narratives. We will then explore in immense detail how to apply these skills in the real world, in your job, in your social life, and in your personal growth. This is your complete program for mental fluency. So I invite you now to make a commitment. This is not a passive listening experience. This is an active training session for your mind. Find a space where you can focus and be ready to start these exercises today. If you are truly ready to break through that wall and transform your English, then commit to this journey. And to ensure you have every tool you need along the way, take a moment right now to subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell. It is your first action step, telling yourself that you are serious about becoming a fluent, confident English thinker. Let's begin. To start this process, we must first deeply and honestly understand the old habit we're trying to change. This old habit is the translation engine. It has been running in the mind for years, and it is very good at its job. Its job is to keep you safe by routing every unknown piece of information through the system it knows best, your native language. But this safety comes at a tremendous cost. To truly appreciate why we need to change, a deep analysis of this engine is necessary. Let's talk in simple terms about the neurology of language habits. Every time you think a thought and translate it, you are strengthening a specific neural pathway in your brain. It's like walking the same path in a forest every single day. At first, the path is covered with leaves and branches. It is difficult to walk. You have to move slowly and deliberately. This is like your first attempts to think in English. It feels slow and unnatural. But if you walk that same path every day, you begin to clear it. Your feet stamp down the leaves. You push branches out of the way. After a few weeks, the path is clearer. It is easier to walk. After a few months, it becomes a wide, clear dirt road. It becomes your new automatic route. Our goal is to walk this new path so consistently that the old path of translation becomes overgrown and disappears. We are literally, physically, changing the wiring of our minds. Now let's consider the emotional cost of relying on the old path. When you are constantly translating, you often feel one step behind, perpetually trying to catch up. This can lead to a state of low-level anxiety in every conversation. You are not fully present. You are not truly listening to the other person's message because you are so busy operating your internal translation machine. This can also lead to deep frustration. You might know, intellectually, that you are a smart, funny, and interesting person in your native language, but you feel that your English personality is a pale shadow of your true self. You might seem more serious, more simple, or less confident than you really are. This disconnect between your true self and your English self is exhausting and can be a huge barrier to forming genuine connections with others. To be truly convinced, it is important to break down the 4 core problems caused by the translation engine, with detailed examples. The first problem is speed. This is the most obvious cost. The delay caused by the 4-step process, hear, translate, think, translate back, is significant. In a one-on-one conversation, a kind partner might wait for you, but in a group conversation, a work meeting, or a fast-paced social situation, the conversation will simply move on without you. You will miss your chance to contribute, to share your idea, or to make your joke. Fluency is not just about being correct. It's about being timely. It's about being in the rhythm of the conversation. The second problem is naturalness. This is a more subtle but equally important problem. Direct translation often creates phrases that are grammatically correct but sound strange or foreign to a native ear. For prepositions, a Russian speaker might say, "I was at the concert on last week, damikri," because the preposition on is used with days in Russian. The natural English is, "I was at the concert last week," when I with no preposition. With verb choices, a French speaker might say, "I'm going to pass an exam," a direct translation of passer un examen. But the natural English collocation is, "I'm going to take an exam." You pass the exam only after you get a good result. For possession, an Italian speaker might say, "It is the pen of my brother," which is grammatically perfect, but a bit formal and clunky. The more natural, everyday English is, "It's my brother's pen," using the possessives. These are not huge mistakes, but when dozens of such unnatural phrases are present in every conversation, it creates a cumulative effect that makes speech less smooth and harder for the listener to process. The third problem is listening comprehension. This is a critical point that many learners overlook. If your brain is conditioned to translate what you hear, you simply cannot keep up with the speed of a native speaker. A native speaker produces around 150 words per minute. There is absolutely no time for your brain to hear a word, translate it, hear the next word, translate it, and so on. It is an impossible task. This is why you might find yourself getting lost when watching a movie or listening to a podcast. You catch the first few words of a sentence, but while your brain is busy translating them, you miss the next 5 words, which contain the main point of the sentence. To understand native speakers, you must learn to process their words in real time, directly into meaning. The fourth problem is cognitive load. This is the sheer amount of mental energy that translation consumes. It's like trying to run multiple demanding software programs on an old computer. It slows everything down and makes the system prone to crashing. When your brain is dedicating so much of its power to the mechanics of translation, it has very little capacity left for higher-level communication skills, such as understanding humor and sarcasm, reading between the lines, showing empathy, or being persuasive. Freeing your brain from the burden of translation is what allows you to finally engage in the true art of communication. To begin the process of dismantling this engine, the first task is awareness. You cannot fix a problem you are not conscious of. For the next 24 hours, try a simple exercise. It could be called the translation diary. Simply be a curious observer of your own mind. As you go about your day, try to notice when you are translating. When you read a sign, when you hear a song, when you think about what to say next, just notice it. Do not judge yourself. Just notice. At the end of the day, write down just 3 to 5 moments where you caught your brain translating. For example, first, I saw an advertisement and translated it to understand the joke. Second, I was planning an email in my head, and I thought about it in my native language first. And third, I wanted to ask for directions, and I prepared the question in my native language before translating it. This simple act of observation is the first essential step to taking control of your own mind. Now that we are fully aware of the old inefficient engine, we can begin the exciting work of building the new one. Our new engine will be built on the principle of direct connection, or association. We will train our minds to link concepts, objects, and actions directly to English words. This part is all about forging those foundational connections, one word at a time. We begin with the cornerstone technique, labeling your world. This is an active, mindful exercise that you can do anywhere, at any time. The process is simple. Look around your environment, and as your eyes land on different objects, mentally label them with their English name. The key is to see the object and have the English word pop into your mind, without your native language word appearing first. Let's structure it as a formal, daily practice. For the next week, dedicate just 5 minutes each day to a themed labeling session. On day 1, you could focus on the living room. Spend 5 minutes looking around your living room and mentally naming everything you see. Sofa, armchair, coffee table, rug, curtains, window, television, remote control, lamp, bookshelf, vase, cushion. On day 2, you could move to the kitchen. Spend 5 minutes there. Refrigerator, oven, stove, microwave, sink, faucet, countertop, cabinet, drawer, plate, bowl, cup, mug, fork, knife, spoon, pot, pan. On day 3, try the bedroom for 5 minutes. Bed, pillow, blanket, mattress, wardrobe, closet, dresser, drawer, hanger, alarm clock. On day 4, the bathroom. Toilet, shower, bathtub, sink, mirror, towel, soap, shampoo, toothbrush, toothpaste. On day 5, focus on your workspace. Desk, chair, laptop, monitor, keyboard, mouse, printer, notebook, pen, paper, telephone. On day 6, look outside by a window or go for a short walk. Street, road, car, bus, bicycle, tree, building, sky, cloud, person, dog. And on day 7, focus on your body. Look in a mirror and name what you see. Head, hair, face, eye, nose, mouth, ear, neck, shoulder, arm, hand, finger, leg, foot, toe. This structured approach ensures you cover the high-frequency vocabulary of your daily life. Now let's add a much richer layer to this practice. We will move beyond simple naming to a new technique. Sense association. Our memories and thoughts are not just words. They are tied to our 5 senses. We will now practice connecting English words to sensations. Let's think about an apple. For sight, don't just think apple. Think red, round, shiny, smooth skin. For touch, imagine holding the apple and think smooth, cool, hard, firm. For smell, imagine smelling it. Sweet, fresh, fruity aroma. For taste, imagine biting into it. Crisp, juicy, sweet, a little tart. For sound, imagine the noise it makes when you bite it. Crunchy, loud crunch. By engaging all your senses, you are creating a much deeper, multi-dimensional memory of the English word. You are connecting it not just to another word in your native language, but to a real-world experience. Next, we will build the network of connections between words with a technique called word webs. This is a fantastic mental exercise. Start with one central, simple word and then brainstorm as many related English words as you can. Let's take the word work. What comes to mind? For places, maybe. Office, company, desk, factory. For people. Boss, colleague, employee, manager, client. For actions. Type, write, meet, talk, manage, create, sell. For things. Computer, email, report, project, meeting, salary. And for feelings, busy, tired, productive, stressed, successful. You are not translating. You are exploring the English language from within, seeing how words are connected to each other. This builds the rich, semantic network that native speakers have in their minds. Finally, let's revisit our crucial tool, the monolingual dictionary, and commit to using it properly. Let's do a walkthrough with 3 different types of words. First, a noun, like integrity. You look it up. The definition says, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. The example sentence is, he is a man of great integrity. I would trust him with anything. You learn that it's not just about honesty, it's about a deep moral character. Second, a verb like to procrastinate. The definition is to delay or postpone action, to put off doing something. The example sentence is, I know I have to finish my essay, but I always procrastinate by watching videos online. You learn the word for a feeling and action you have definitely experienced. Third, an adjective, like meticulous. The definition says, showing great attention to detail, very careful and precise. The example sentence is, she is a meticulous planner. Every hour of her vacation is scheduled. You now have a fantastic, specific word to describe someone who is very, very careful. By making these 3 techniques, structured labeling with senses, word webs, and deep dictionary use, a core part of your daily practice, you will build a powerful, unshakable foundation of direct English word association. With our foundation of single words in place, we are now ready to start building. We will string those words into a flowing, continuous narrative inside our minds. We will become the narrators of our own lives using the internal monologue. We will now expand this technique with more detailed scripts and a powerful new twist. Remember, the goal here is flow, not perfection. Let's consider some very detailed scripts you can adapt. For example, the full morning routine could sound like this in your head. The alarm is ringing. It is so loud, I do not want to get up. I am reaching for my phone to turn it off. Okay, it's off. Silence. I am sitting up in bed and rubbing my eyes. I feel so sleepy. I need to get out of bed. My feet are on the floor. I am standing up and stretching my arms above my head. It feels good. I am walking to the bathroom. I am turning on the light. It is too bright. I am looking in the mirror. My hair is a mess. I am grabbing my toothbrush. I am putting toothpaste on it. I am brushing my teeth. Up and down, side to side. Now I am rinsing my mouth with water. I am washing my face. The cold water is waking me up. I am drying my face with a soft towel. Now I feel more awake. Or consider a detailed commute. I am leaving my house. I am checking to make sure I have my keys and my wallet. Yes, they are in my pocket. I am locking the door. I am walking down the street to the train station. I am looking at the people around me. Everyone is going to work. I am going down the stairs into the station. I am tapping my card on the reader. The gate is opening. I am walking to the platform. I am checking the board to see when the next train is. It says 3 minutes. Good, I do not have to wait long. I can hear the train coming now. It is getting louder. The train is arriving at the platform. The doors are opening. I am getting on the train. It is very crowded this morning. I am trying to find a place to stand. I am holding onto a pole. The doors are closing. The train is starting to move. Now for a powerful new technique to enhance this practice, the third-person narrator. Sometimes thinking I am can feel a bit repetitive or strange. So for a few minutes each day, try narrating your actions as if you were a character in a book. Use he or she. This is a fantastic psychological trick that creates a little distance, making it feel more like a fun game. It also gives you excellent automatic practice with third-person singular verbs, which is an area where many learners make mistakes. Let's try it. She is walking into the kitchen. She looks tired this morning. She opens a refrigerator and looks inside. She's looking for the milk. There it is. She takes the milk out and closes the door. Now she is getting a bowl from the cupboard. She is making herself some cereal for breakfast. This simple switch can make the practice feel fresh and will automatically improve your grammar. Let's also do a deep dive into circumlocution with a gallery of common objects a B1 to B2 learner might not know the name for. If you cannot remember remote control, you could think, I want to change the channel on the TV. I need that black plastic thing with all the buttons on it, the thing you use to control the television. If you cannot remember power outlet or socket, you could think, my phone battery is low. I need to charge it. I'm looking for the place in the wall with the 2 little holes where you plug things in to get electricity. If you cannot remember USB stick or flash drive, your thought could be, I need to give this file to my colleague. I'm going to save it on that small plastic thing that you put into the computer's USB port, the little storage device. Practicing this in your head, deliberately and often, is the best possible training for those real-life moments when you forget a word in a conversation. It teaches you that forgetting a word is not a disaster. It is just a creative challenge. So far, our internal monologue has been composed of statements, but communication is a two-way street, and half of it is about asking, not just telling. To become a truly fluent thinker, you must also develop the habit of thinking in questions. This fosters a mindset of curiosity, helps you to be more engaged with the world around you, and prepares you for the natural give and take of conversation. Start by asking yourself simple, observational questions throughout the day. This is about turning your narrator's mind into an inquisitive mind. Instead of just thinking, the sky is cloudy, think, I wonder why the sky is so cloudy today. Is it gonna rain? Instead of, that's a nice car. Think, What kind of car is that? It looks expensive. I wonder how much it costs. As you go about your day, your mind is constantly asking logistical questions. So start phrasing them in English like, what time is it now? What should I do next? Do I have everything I need? Where did I put my keys? How long will it take me to get there? Make a conscious effort to use the main question words in your internal monologue. For who, you might think, I see that person every morning. Who is he? I wonder what his job is. For what? What is that strange noise? What is my boss gonna say in the meeting? For where? Where should I go for lunch today? Where is the nearest post office? For when? When is this meeting going to end? When is my vacation? For why? Why is there so much traffic this morning? Oh, why did they change the project deadline? And for how? How am I going to finish all this work? How does this new software work? Once you are comfortable with these simple, real-world questions, you can move on to a more advanced practice, asking hypothetical questions. This is a fantastic way to practice conditional grammar and to think about possibilities. You could try problem-solving hypotheticals like, what would happen if I missed my train? I guess I would have to take the next one, but I would be late for my meeting. How would I explain it to my boss? Or you could try imaginative hypotheticals such as, if I could have any superpower, what would it be? I think I would choose to be able to fly. Where would I go if I could fly? This could even extend to decision-making hypotheticals, like, if I get that job offer, should I take it? What would be the advantages? What would be the disadvantages? By developing the habit of asking questions in your mind, you are not just passively observing the world anymore. You are actively engaging with it, seeking to understand it. This curious mindset will naturally flow into your conversations, making you a more interesting, engaged, and active conversationalist. It is the other half of a fluent inner voice. Welcome to the next level of your training. We've built a solid foundation of words, statements, and questions. Now we will use that foundation to construct the complex thoughts that define our personalities, our intellect, and our unique perspective on the world. This next part is about moving beyond simple narration and into the realms of analysis, persuasion, and self-expression. We will start by taking a deeper dive into forming opinions. It's not enough to think, I like this movie. A fluent thinker can explain why. We will practice structuring our opinions using a method we can call the PEE method. That stands for point, evidence, and explanation. First, you make your point, for example, I think that new cafe is the best in the city. Then you provide your evidence. Their coffee is always perfectly brewed and they use high-quality beans. Also, the staff are incredibly friendly. Finally, you give your explanation. Because of this, the atmosphere is always warm and welcoming, which makes it a place I want to return to again and again. Practice this. PEE structure in your mind about simple things, a song, an article you read, the design of a product. Next, we will introduce a powerful new technique for decision-making and analytical thinking, pros and cons. We all have to make decisions every day from small to large. Use these moments as a training ground for your English mind. For a simple decision, you might think, should I go to the gym after work or go straight home? Let's see. Pros of going to the gym. I will feel healthier. I will have more energy tomorrow, and I will feel good about myself. Cons of going to the gym. I am already tired. It will take an extra hour, and I will get home late. For a more complex decision, your thoughts could be, should I apply for that new job? Pros. The salary is higher, it's a promotion with more responsibility, and it's a great opportunity for my career. Cons. The new office is much further away, the hours are longer, and I have heard the boss can be very demanding. I need to think carefully about this. This exercise is brilliant practice for comparative language like higher, further, and longer, and for expressing cause and effect. Now for a technique that will dramatically expand your active vocabulary. Explaining a concept. Pick a topic that you know very well. It could be your job, your favorite hobby, how to cook your favorite meal, or the rules of your favorite sport. Now, imagine you are explaining this topic to a complete beginner who knows nothing about it, and you must do it in your head. In simple English, for example, if you were explaining your job as a graphic designer, you might think, so I am a graphic designer. What does that mean? It means I create visual content for companies. For example, I design logos, which are the symbols that represent a company. I also design brochures and websites. I use special computer software like Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. The most important part of my job is to understand what the client wants and to create something that is both beautiful and communicates their message effectively. This is a challenging but incredibly rewarding exercise. It forces you to search for simple ways to explain complex ideas, a core skill of any great communicator. Finally, we will deepen our practice of reflecting on the past. We will move beyond just describing events and feelings and start analyzing cause and effect. Your internal reflection might sound like this. I had a very productive day today. I think it was because I made a clear to-do list this morning. As a result of having that list, I stayed focused and did not get distracted. Because I was so focused, I managed to finish my big project ahead of schedule. Therefore, I am feeling very relaxed and satisfied this evening. By consciously using words like because, as a result, so, and therefore in your internal reflections, you are training your brain to think in a more logical and structured way, which will make your speaking clearer and more persuasive. The internal work you are doing is the engine of your fluency, but that engine needs fuel. The fuel is high-quality, consistent input from the outside world. This part is about creating a total immersion environment, a 360-degree English world that constantly feeds and supports your developing English mind. We will create a detailed, step-by-step makeover plan for your digital life. First, let's make a clearer distinction between content for active study and content for passive immersion. Active study content is something you engage with deeply. You sit down, you focus, you might pause and rewind, you look up new words, and you might even take notes. This could be a TED Talk, an educational YouTube video, or a specific podcast episode you want to learn from. You should do this for short, focused periods, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Passive immersion content, on the other hand, is the background soundtrack of your life. It's content you listen to while doing other things. The goal is not full comprehension. It is exposure to the sounds, rhythms, and patterns of the language. This could be an English radio station, a long conversational podcast, or an audiobook. Now for your digital immersion makeover. Let's go through your devices and platforms one by one. For your smartphone, first, change the system language to English. This is the most important step. Second, delete the news and social media apps that are in your native language. Third, download the English language equivalents like BBC News or the New York Times. Fourth, change the language settings in your most used apps to English. For your computer and browser, you should also change the operating system language to English. Set your browser's default language to English, and make an English language news site your homepage. For your entertainment on platforms like Netflix or YouTube, you should change the profile language to English. This will make the platform start recommending English content to you. On YouTube, consciously subscribe to at least 10 creators who produce content in English on topics you love, whether it's cooking, gaming, or fashion. Make a personal rule for yourself. For the next 30 days, every movie or series you watch will be in English, with English subtitles. No exceptions. The same goes for your social media. Go through the list of people you follow and unfollow pages that post in your native language. Then actively search for and follow pages, influencers, and groups that post interesting content in English. Fill your feed with the language you want to learn. Finally, let's talk about bridging the gap between internal thought and external speech. You need to find opportunities for low-stakes speaking practice. This is where you can try out your English thoughts without the pressure of a high-stakes meeting or a formal exam. First, talk to yourself. When you are alone at home or in your car, practice your internal monologue out loud. Narrate what you are doing. It might feel strange at first, but it is an incredibly effective way to practice the physical act of speaking. Second, use voice notes. Instead of texting a friend who also speaks English, send them a short voice note. This gets you comfortable with speaking spontaneously. Third, try language exchange apps. Use apps like Tandem or HelloTalk to find language partners for relaxed, informal conversations. It is not a test. It is just a chat. By meticulously crafting your environment and creating these low-pressure outlets for speech, you create a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle where your thinking improves your speaking, and your speaking improves your thinking. We have now covered the practical techniques for changing how you think and how you interact with English. But there is one final crucial piece of the puzzle we must address: your mindset. For many learners, the biggest obstacle is not a lack of vocabulary or grammar knowledge. It is the internal wall of fear, anxiety, and self-doubt. This final part is about giving you the psychological tools to dismantle that wall. First, we must address the fear of making mistakes head-on. Many of us were taught in school that mistakes are bad and should be avoided. In language learning, this belief is a prison. You must change your relationship with mistakes. From now on, a mistake is not a sign of failure. A mistake is proof that you are trying. It is a data point that gives you information about what you need to improve. When you make a mistake, do not feel shame. Feel curious. You can think, "That's interesting. I used a wrong preposition there. I wonder why. Let me check." A curious mindset replaces a critical mindset. Perfectionism is the enemy of fluency. You must give yourself permission to be imperfect. Next, let's talk about the silent period. There will be days or even weeks when you feel like your English is not improving or is even getting worse. You might feel tired of practicing. You might not want to speak. This is a completely normal and documented part of the language learning process. Your brain is consolidating information, like a computer running a background update. Do not fight it. On those days, it is okay to be quiet. Focus on listening. Focus on reading. Be kind to yourself. The motivation and the desire to speak will return, often stronger than before. To manage the anxiety that can arise in conversations, you can use simple mindfulness techniques. When you are about to enter a conversation and you feel that familiar knot of fear in your stomach, take a moment, pause, take one deep breath, and use your English internal monologue to observe your own state. You can think, okay, I am about to speak English. I am feeling nervous right now. I can feel my heart beating a little faster. My hands are a little sweaty. That is interesting. It is just a feeling. It is my body's reaction to a challenge. It is okay. I am prepared. I will just try my best. One sentence at a time. By observing your anxiety instead of being controlled by it, you take away its power. You are showing yourself that you can feel nervous and still perform effectively. Finally, you must become your own biggest supporter. You need to cultivate a practice of positive self-talk in English. Your internal monologue shouldn't just be about narrating actions. It should also be about encouraging yourself. When you successfully have a short conversation, you can think, I did it. That was great. I was nervous, but I understood most of what he said, and I was able to reply, I am proud of myself. When you learn a new word, this is a great word. I'm going to try to use it today. My vocabulary is growing. And every single day, you can tell yourself, my English is improving every day. I am becoming a more confident and capable speaker. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. I am on the right path. Your mindset is the soil in which all these techniques will grow. By cultivating a mindset of curiosity, self-compassion, and encouragement, you create the perfect conditions for fluency to blossom. Now we will transition into some new and powerful modules designed to take your English thinking to an even deeper level. We will explore how to think in different tenses, how to think like a storyteller, and how to prepare your mind for real-world conversations. Let's begin with a deep exploration of thinking in different tenses. True fluency is not just about describing the present moment. It is about moving fluidly through time in your mind, reflecting on the past and planning for the future. We will practice living in each tense. Let's start with the past. For a few minutes each day, your task is to narrate memories. Don't just think about what you did yesterday. Think about a favorite vacation from years ago. Use the simple past to describe the main events. For example, I remember my trip to the mountains. We drove for 6 hours. We arrived at a small cabin. It was beautiful. The next day, we hiked to the top of a mountain. The view was incredible. Then, add layers with the past continuous to describe the scene. The sun was shining while we were hiking. Birds were singing in the trees. I was feeling so happy and free. Finally, use the present perfect to connect the past to the present. I have always loved that memory. I have not been back to the mountains since then, but I have often thought about that trip. Practicing this mental time travel is essential. Next, we will master thinking in the future. This is more than just a grammar exercise. It's about training your mind to visualize and plan in English. Use going to for definite plans. Tomorrow, I am going to wake up early. I am going to go for a run. Then I am going to work on my project all morning. Use will for spontaneous decisions or predictions. As you look at the cloudy sky, you can think, "It looks like it will rain later. I will take my umbrella with me." You can also practice the future continuous to imagine yourself in a future moment. This time next week, I will be relaxing on the beach. I will be swimming in the ocean and reading a book. By narrating your future with this level of detail, you make it more real, and you make the grammar automatic. Now, let's move to a fascinating new topic: narrative thinking, or becoming a storyteller in your own mind. Our brains are wired for stories. We understand the world through stories. Learning to structure your thoughts as simple stories will make your English more engaging and memorable. A story has a simple structure: a beginning, a middle, and an end. Practice this with your own day. The beginning is your morning. Today started like any other day. I woke up feeling tired. The middle is the main event. But then, at work, I had a surprise meeting with my boss. He told me I was being considered for a promotion. I was so surprised and excited. The end is the resolution. So I spent the rest of the day feeling motivated. I went home and celebrated with a nice dinner. It turned out to be a great day. You can also practice this by retelling stories you consume. After you watch a movie, try to summarize the plot in your head in simple English. The movie was about a young woman who discovered she had a secret power. At first, she was scared of it, but then a wise old mentor taught her how to control it. In the end, she used her power to save her city from a great danger. This practice is incredibly powerful. It trains your use of sequencing words like at first, then, and in the end. It improves your vocabulary, and it teaches you how to organize your thoughts into a clear, logical sequence, which is a vital skill for any fluent speaker. Our final new module is about thinking for conversation. This is where we prepare our minds for real-time interaction. A big part of conversation is anticipation. Before you enter a specific situation, spend a few moments thinking about the possible topics and vocabulary you might need. For example, if you are going to a restaurant, you can prepare your mind. Okay, I'm going to a restaurant. The waiter will probably ask, "Are you ready to order?" I should look at the menu. I think I want to try the chicken. I will need to say, "I would like to have the chicken, please." He might ask if I want a drink. I will say, "Just water for me. Thank you." This mental rehearsal reduces anxiety and makes you feel much more prepared. You can do this for many situations: a job interview, making small talk at a party, or even a phone call to customer service. Think about the questions you might be asked. Think about the answers you might give. Think about the questions you want to ask. Another powerful technique is to practice active listening in your head. When you are listening to a podcast or watching an interview on TV, pretend you are part of the conversation. When the speaker makes a point, think of a follow-up question in your head. For example, if the speaker says, "I think learning a new skill is very important," you can think, "That's an interesting point. I wonder what skill he thinks is the most important to learn today." Or you can practice summarizing. After the speaker talks for a minute, pause the audio and try to summarize their main point in one simple sentence in your head. So, what he is saying is that continuous learning is the key to success in the modern world. This trains you to be an active, engaged listener, which is just as important as being a fluent speaker. We will now enter the largest and most practical part of this master class. We will take all the skills we have developed, the direct word association, the internal monologue, the question asking, the advanced analysis, and apply them to the real-world situations where you need them most. We will build specific mental frameworks for professional success, social fluency, and personal growth, all through the power of thinking in English. Let's begin with a crucial area for many learners: thinking in English for professional success. Your career can depend on your ability to communicate clearly and confidently. The first scenario we will master is the business meeting. Before you even enter the room, your English thinking practice should begin. This is about creating a meeting mindset. Get the agenda beforehand. For each point on the agenda, spend 5 minutes thinking in English. What is your opinion on this topic? Use the PEE method we learned earlier. For example, if an agenda item is new marketing campaign, you can think. Point. I think the new campaign is a good start, but it needs to be more focused on social media. Evidence. Our data shows that our target audience spends most of their time on Instagram and TikTok, but the current plan focuses heavily on print advertising. Explanation. Therefore, I believe we should reallocate some of the print budget to create more video content for these platforms. By preparing your thoughts this way, you enter the meeting not with a blank mind, but with well-structured ideas ready to be shared. During the meeting, practice active listening. As a colleague speaks, don't just wait for your turn. Summarize their point in your head. Okay, so what John is saying is that he is concerned about the budget. Then formulate a clarifying question in your head. I should ask him to specify which part of the budget he thinks is too high. This keeps your mind active, engaged, and in the English zone throughout the entire meeting. The next professional skill is giving a presentation. This can be a source of great anxiety, but mental practice can make all the difference. This is about developing a presentation mindset. Don't just memorize your speech. Instead, think of your slides as visual cues for your thoughts. For each slide, practice narrating it in your head in simple English. If you have a chart, don't just plan to say, "This chart shows our sales." Practice explaining it. As you can see from this bar chart, our sales in the first quarter were quite low. They started to increase in the second quarter, and then they grew dramatically in the third quarter. This growth was primarily because we launched the new product in July. Also, practice the transitions between your slides. In your mind, think the connecting phrases. Now that we have looked at last year's performance, let's move on to our goals for next year. This leads me to my next point, which is our strategy for expansion. By narrating your presentation in your head many times, you are not just memorizing words, you are internalizing the flow of your ideas, which will make your delivery sound much more natural and confident. A third vital professional skill is writing emails. Many people compose emails by thinking in their native language and translating, which often results in messages that are unnatural or unclear. We must develop an email mindset. Before you type a single word, compose the entire email in your head in English. First, think about the purpose and the tone. Is this a formal email to a new client or an informal message to a colleague? For a formal email, you might think, okay, I need to start with a polite greeting, like, "Dear Mr. Smith, my first sentence should state my purpose clearly. I am writing to confirm our meeting for this Friday. Then I need to provide the details, the time and the location. I should also ask if he needs any further information. I will end with, I look forward to meeting with you, and sincerely. For an informal email to a colleague, you could think, Hey Sarah, just wanted to ask a quick question about the report. Do you know when the deadline is? Let me know. Thanks. By building the email mentally first, the act of typing becomes simple transcription. You will write faster, and your emails will be far more effective. Finally, let's touch upon a challenging but important professional scenario. Negotiation. A negotiation mindset in English is about preparing for different possibilities. Before the negotiation, think about your goals using simple English. My main goal is to get a 10% discount. My ideal outcome is a 15% discount. My absolute limit, my walkaway point, is a 5% discount. Then, practice if, then scenarios in your head. If they say they cannot give any discount, then I will ask about other benefits, like free shipping. If they offer 8%, then I will respond by asking for 12% and try to meet at 10%. This mental practice helps you stay calm and focused during the actual negotiation because you have already explored the possible paths the conversation might take. It allows you to respond strategically rather than reacting emotionally. Now let's shift our focus from the workplace to our personal lives. Being able to communicate effectively in social situations is key to making friends and building relationships. This requires a different set of mental skills, which we will call thinking in English for social fluency. The most common barrier to social interaction is starting the conversation. This is where we need a small talk mindset. The key to small talk is to be a curious observer of your environment. Instead of standing silently, use your internal monologue to generate questions and observations. You might be at a party and think, "This is a beautiful apartment. I wonder who decorated it. I could ask the host about that." Or, "The music is great. I wonder what band this is. I could ask the person next to me." A very effective mental checklist for small talk is the FORD method, which stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Before you approach someone, you can run through this list in your head. I could ask him about his family, but maybe that's too personal. I could ask what he does for a living. That's a safe topic. Or I could ask him what he likes to do for fun on the weekends. That's even better. It's more relaxed. This mental preparation gives you a simple plan, making it much easier to take that first step and say hello. Once a conversation is started, the best way to connect is through stories. This requires a storytelling mindset. Native speakers are constantly telling short, simple anecdotes about their lives. You need to practice this internally. Think about your day. What was the most interesting, funny, or frustrating thing that happened? Try to structure it as a mini story in your head. For example, I have a funny story from this morning. I was in a hurry to get to work. I made my coffee and poured it into my travel mug. As I was running out the door, I picked up my water bottle instead of my coffee mug by mistake. I didn't realize it until I was on the train. I took a big sip, expecting hot coffee, and I got cold water. It was a very surprising way to wake up. Practice telling these simple stories to yourself. This will prepare you to share them naturally in conversations, making you a more engaging and relatable person to talk to. A huge challenge in social situations is understanding nuance, especially humor. To navigate this, you need to develop a curious and analytical mindset. When you hear something that might be a joke, but you are not sure, you can mentally flag it. You can think. "Okay," he said that with a strange tone of voice. His words were serious, but his face was smiling. "I think that was sarcasm." Or, "Everyone is laughing, but I don't understand the joke. It might be a cultural reference that I don't know. That's okay. I can just smile along, or I can ask my friend about it later." The goal is not to understand everything instantly. The goal is to become a detective of social cues, using your internal monologue to analyze the situation and learn from it. Finally, being a good friend involves more than just talking about yourself. It requires an active friendship mindset. This means using your English thinking to be actively interested in the lives of others. When you have a friend, practice thinking about their life in English. I remember Sarah told me she had a big project at work this week. It must be very stressful for her. I should send her a message to see how she is doing and to wish her luck. Or, "Tom's birthday is next month. What should I get for him? He loves reading. Maybe I could get him a new book from his favorite author. I should check to see which ones he's already read." This kind of thinking does two things. First, it gives you meaningful, real-world practice for your English. Second, and more importantly, it makes you a more thoughtful and caring friend. It builds the mental habit of empathy in English. Our final major area of application is about using these skills for your own development. This is thinking in English for learning and growth. Whether you are a student or just a lifelong learner, you can use your English mind to learn more effectively. Let's start with the academic mindset. When you are listening to a lecture, watching an educational video, or reading a non-fiction book, your mind should be active, not passive. As you listen or read, practice summarizing the information in real time in your head. After a few minutes, you can mentally pause and think, "Okay, so the main point of this section is that the Industrial Revolution started in Britain for 3 key reasons. 1, they had a lot of coal. 2, they had new inventions. And 3, they had a stable government." You should also be constantly formulating questions in your head. The speaker mentioned that the steam engine was the most important invention. I wonder why that was more important than the other inventions. What made it so special? This active engagement keeps you focused and dramatically increases how much you remember. Beyond just absorbing information, you can also practice a critical thinking mindset. This is about analyzing information, not just accepting it. When you read a news article or an opinion piece, use your internal monologue to ask critical questions. What is the author's main argument here? What evidence does he provide to support his argument? Is this evidence strong or is it weak? Is the author biased in some way? What is another possible perspective on this issue? This practice of internal debate is a powerful way to develop higher-level thinking skills. It moves you from being a passive consumer of information to an active, analytical thinker, all within the English language. Finally, you can use your English mind for creativity. A creative mindset involves playing with the language and with ideas. A simple and fun exercise is the What If Euchris game. You can use it for brainstorming or just for fun. What if people could fly? How would our cities be different? What if I started my own business? What kind of business would it be? Another creative practice is to describe art or music in your head. Look at a painting and try to describe what you see and how it makes you feel. Listen to a piece of instrumental music and try to describe the emotions it creates. This music feels very dramatic and epic. It makes me imagine a big battle scene in a movie. Now it is getting quieter and sadder. It feels like a moment of loss. This kind of practice connects English to your emotions and your imagination, making it a tool for creative expression, not just for practical communication. We have now covered a vast and detailed territory. We have built our English thinking skills from the ground up, and we have explored how to apply them in professional, social, and personal contexts. The final piece of this puzzle is to ensure you have the mental resilience to continue this practice for the long term. This means mastering your own psychology. Let's do a deeper dive into the psychology of the language ego and the fear of judgment. Your language ego is that part of your identity that is tied to how well you communicate. In your native language, your ego is strong and confident, but in a second language, it can feel fragile and vulnerable. This is why making a mistake in English can feel so much worse than making a mistake in your native language. It feels like a reflection of your intelligence, not just your language skill. You must consciously separate these two things. Use your internal monologue to remind yourself, making a grammar mistake does not mean I am stupid. It just means I am still learning this part of the language. My intelligence is separate from my English proficiency. You also need to manage the fear of judgment from others. The truth is, most native speakers are very happy that you are trying to speak their language. They are not judging your small mistakes. Often, the harsh judge is not the person you are talking to. It is the voice inside your own head. Learning to ignore that internal critic is a vital step. To support this, you can expand your use of mindfulness and positive self-talk with specific scripts for specific situations. Before you make an important phone call in English, you can find a quiet space, close your eyes for 1 minute and think, I am about to make this phone call. I feel my heart beating a little. That is normal. I have prepared for this call. I know what I need to say. I will speak slowly and clearly. If I do not understand something, I will politely ask them to repeat it. It will be okay. After the call, you can have a debrief with yourself. That call went pretty well. I was able to explain my problem clearly. There was one word I did not understand, but I asked for clarification, and then I understood. I handled that situation well. I am improving. This practice of mental preparation and positive review builds confidence over time. Here are some powerful affirmations you can repeat to yourself in English every morning to build a strong, positive mindset. I am a confident and capable English speaker. Every day, my English gets a little better. I embrace my mistakes as learning opportunities. I speak with a clear and strong voice. I am excited to communicate with the world in English. I am patient with my progress. I am proud of how far I have come. Repeating these affirmations will, over time, begin to overwrite the negative, critical voice in your head. You now have the most comprehensive toolkit imaginable for this journey. You have the technical exercises, the practical applications, and the psychological strategies. The final step is to put it all into a consistent daily practice. We have covered an immense amount of ground. We have journeyed from the deep psychological roots of the translation habit all the way to advanced techniques for thinking, analysis, and building unshakable confidence. You now have a complete step-by-step mental training program to guide you. You have the tools not just to learn a language, but to fundamentally change the way your mind operates within it. We began by deconstructing the old translation engine. We then began the real work, building our new inner voice from the ground up. We forged direct connections with single words through multi-sensory labeling and word webs. We learned to become the narrator of our lives. We added another layer by learning to think in questions. We then moved to advanced thinking, practicing how to structure opinions and solve problems. We supported all of this internal work by creating a plan for total immersion. We learned how to apply these skills in professional and social situations. And finally, we addressed the crucial inner game, learning how to overcome the mental blocks of fear and anxiety to build true, lasting confidence. Knowledge without action is useless. To turn this knowledge into a real skill, you must practice. To help you do exactly that, I have created a detailed challenge for you to follow. Let's call it the 30-Day Think in English Challenge. For the first week, you can focus entirely on the foundation. Each day, from day 1 to day 7, just commit to doing the 5-minute themed Labeling Your World exercise. Also, every single day, practice your internal monologue for at least 10 minutes, perhaps during your morning routine or commute. During this first week, your mission is also to become an observer, catching and noting down just one moment of translation each day. And finally, before the week is over, take the brave step of changing the language on your phone. Then, in week 2, you can build the narrative. You will continue with your daily 10-minute internal monologue, but now you will also incorporate the third-person narrator technique for 5 minutes each day. This is also the week to bring in the practice of thinking in questions. So challenge yourself to ask at least 10 questions in English in your head throughout the day. To support this, commit to watching one 15-minute video in English with English subtitles each day. Moving into week 3, it is time for advanced thinking. While continuing your monologue and question practice, you will also pick one advanced thinking exercise to do for 5 to 10 minutes each day. Perhaps on Monday, you can form a PEE opinion. On Tuesday, you can use the pros and cons method, and on Wednesday, you can practice explaining a simple concept. Make sure you also do your end-of-day reflection, focusing on cause and effect. And to start bridging the gap to speaking, try talking to yourself out loud for 5 minutes a day. Finally, week 4 is all about confidence and consolidation. As you continue all your previous practices, consciously practice the positive self-talk and mindfulness techniques every day. When you feel nervous, observe it. When you do something well, praise yourself in English. Take a small step into the world by writing a short comment in English on a social media post or a YouTube video. And to cap off the month, find one opportunity for a low-stakes conversation, even if it's just a 5-minute chat on a language app. This plan is your guide. It builds gradually, layer by layer, until these new ways of thinking become second nature. This is your path to letting go of the side of the pool. This is how you learn to swim. Thank you for your incredible time and your commitment to your own improvement throughout this masterclass. I truly hope this detailed guide has left you feeling empowered, inspired, and most importantly, clear on exactly what you need to do next. If you found this lesson valuable, please show your support by liking and sharing it with other English learners who are on the same challenging journey. And if you have not already, this is your final, most important reminder to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Doing so ensures you will not miss any future lessons designed to guide you every step of the way on your path to becoming the fluent, confident, and unstoppable English speaker that you can be. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and remember that every single English thought is a victory. I look forward to seeing you in our next session. Bye for now.